I dropped out at 15 of the school system. Best thing that ever happened to me.
Simon, what is your dream?
My dream is to fix the education system so that people can dream. Everything the school teaches you in the real world is the opposite. So I have only been able to be successful because I got a team around me. I don't sit and do an exam on my own. I get the 50 talented people in the company to help me do the exam. Then we definitely get an A every time and we ace it.
Is that doable?
I think like anything, it's not doable from inside the system. But I think if you can build outside the house that's burning down, then you can build. So yes, I think really step one is build an alternative to the education system, which I have done with my team. I was personally interested in stories that were relatable because my story is a little bit unrelatable. You know, like I was homeless and then I went to Hong Kong and I built a business.
You've been homeless?
Yeah, I was homeless at 15. When I look back, it was a horrific experience, but equally it was very humbling and I found some joy in the freedom. And then my entrepreneur muscle woke up in my brain. And that's why I tell everyone can be an entrepreneur because it's there. And this brain of mine, just part of my brain came alive that had never been activated in school. It's almost like your imagination at 5. I think the biggest value that we often bring people is free knowledge and exposure to help them get a customer. Money that we give to people is just a value add bonus. That's why I ask someone else's dream and I don't judge it. What's your dream? I'm not giving them the dream. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just asking them what's in their heart.
Bon, j'ai un énorme problème. Ce problème, c'est que vous êtes uniquement 42% à regarder, à écouter ce podcast, à être abonné. C'est pas normal. En tout cas, si vous vous abonnez, ça nous aide énormément pour plein de choses, pour avoir des super invités, pour faire un meilleur travail, pour avoir une meilleure équipe. Donc, abonnez-vous. C'est un simple, tout petit clic maintenant. Si c'est juste la première fois que vous écoutez, c'est OK. Et si vous revenez, abonnez-vous maintenant. Vous nous rendrez un énorme service. Faites-le maintenant et je vous remercie énormément. So, Simon, what is your dream?
My dream is to fix the education system so that people can dream, so that people have all the tools they need to live a good life.
Okay.
That's my dream. Oh, Mike's moving. Hello, everybody. Should I do it again?
No, it's okay. No worries. Is that doable? I mean, can we
Is it doable? I think like anything, it's not doable from inside the system. I think if you tried to create electric cars while working at Mercedes-Benz, I think you'd struggle. But I think if you can build outside the house that's burning down, then you can build. So yes, I think really step one is build an alternative to the education system, which I have done. With my team, I have done. So I think now it's just scaling that up so that people can access it easily and get the help they need to follow their dreams. The present education system doesn't want to be changed. It's a lot of legacy and a lot of special interests in that education system staying exactly the same way as it is. I mean, frankly, the present education system should have been abolished as soon as Google came along. You don't need to memorize half the stuff they tell you to memorize. Learning's important, enjoying learning is important, but being forced to learn stuff that doesn't actually interest you or benefit you in your real world life, then it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
And money.
Is it like the case all over the world? You're talking about UK?
Yep.
Yeah?
It's pretty similar everywhere. The issue is, I mean, let's take the UK, for example. There's 716,000 kids that have come out of uni. They've got, on average, £60,000 worth of debt here in England.
How many you said?
716,000.
Wow.
There are 9,600 graduation jobs. So in other words, there's 700,000 plus people ready to go, smart, talented, hungry, promised a job. There isn't one. So what are they going to do? They're right now on social benefit, sitting around applying for a job every day that doesn't exist.
You didn't study at uni?
I dropped out at 15 of the school system. Best thing that ever happened to me.
Would you put you have kids, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Would you put them at uni? Would you ask them to?
The short answer is no. The long answer is it depends on what my son, who's 8 right now, wants out of life. I always tell him, don't ask what you're going to do when you grow up. We have to ask, what problem would you like to solve? And so, you know, right now I see a lot of people asking, what will you do when you grow up, of a 10-year-old? And they're saying, a lawyer. Well, I mean, AI is probably going to do a lot of the legal work. So there might be an AI lawyer, might be someone working AI as a lawyer, and there might be all sorts of things around the AI lawyers, but I don't see human lawyers lasting very long. Certainly not the 15 years from now that my son would have to still see lawyers around. So going to university to become a lawyer is mandatory right now. You can't become a lawyer without going to university. But I think by the time he's looking at his kind of future, those things won't exist anyway. So what's the point of studying for something that doesn't exist, or going on the conveyor belt to become the sausage at the end of the conveyor belt that no one wants to hire?
There are still, though, some jobs that needs diplomas. I mean, I'm thinking about surgeon or
Yeah, of course. Again, if you want to be a surgeon, that's your dream. Right now, you have to go to university. I do think there's something slightly perverse about that because Tesla couldn't get a job at Tesla. So if Tesla dropped out of university, right, doesn't have a university degree, wouldn't be able to get a job at Tesla. So the university's kind of cornered you have to go to university to do a certain thing. And I kind of get it, but I think apprenticeships, real life experience for most jobs is the best way to learn. That being said, I do understand if you want to be a doctor, you need to go to university, but I think those jobs were about to get wiped out anyway. So,
and I have to say that I had the chance to talk to a few people of your team. And what's your name again? Thomas. And actually, well, you told me he was 24 and he dropped at what age? Yeah, so...
most of my team are like that. And I do have a few people on my team who have gone to university, have a huge amount of debt, and they're not using anything in university. I'm looking at Katie right now, who's hiding. She's stressed about her debt.
Yeah.
And she isn't
Plus
using
it's a shame in that team to be at uni, I guess. You're like, you've been at uni. She's been bullied by the rest of the team.
I would never do that. I would never shame anyone for doing it.
No,
I know you're joking, but I would never. I mean, I think more it's embarrassing for the fact that Katie is in loads of debt. For what? For something she doesn't actually need and she's not using it for her job. And I never asked to see her degree when I interviewed her. I wanted to see, could she do the job? Was she passionate about our mission? Was she caring? Was she the same moral code? It wasn't about your degree. And I don't think anybody that hires people, I mean, in reality, it might be a good filter for some companies, but I don't hire on degrees. I don't know any entrepreneurs that do. I love it if people have had experience and have tried things that have failed. Those are the things I'm looking for.
But it's weird, though, that a lot of like the biggest companies in the world still do that. I mean, if you want, at least a few years ago, if you wanted to go at Google or Meta, you had to get like at least a master's degree, even better. Otherwise, you wouldn't even get in the first interview. Yeah. This is weird.
I think it's a filter system. It's the same as like some investment companies will only invest in you if you dropped out of Harvard, or you went through Y Combinator. It's kind of a filter mechanism that's being completely abused, and that has cost 4 years of some people's lives and £60,000 just to qualify to apply. But now with AI in the system, a lot of those early stage jobs are gone anyway. So I think we need to totally rethink it. Those 716,000 kids that come out of uni can't find work. The only choice they've got is to create a job for themselves.
It seems this narrative is really accelerating right now. I mean, I've heard that at Berkeley, at Stanford, a lot of students are really dropping out of school.
Well, it's a cool thing to do.
AI.
I quite like it's a cool thing to do, but it's always been the cool thing to do. To be honest, I know people that have applied to go to these things just to say they didn't go. They want to get in and then say, drop out from Harvard. So it's all CV building, right? But I think once you start building, actual building like I have done, and friends like Anton, Lovable have done, once they've gone out and just built these things, who gives a shit about your university degree? If you've gone and built like Anton's done, Lovable, would you give him a job? Do you give a shit whether he's got a degree or not? No, we care about the person and what they're capable of and what they care about. And I hire around mission. Do people want to fix the education system along with me? And if you've got a degree but you don't care about that, it doesn't make any difference to me.
Anton is a great guy. That's actually, we have to say hi to Anton because it's thanks to him we met last summer in Paris. This episode with him, it was quite amazing. And wow, Lovable is growing so fast.
Yeah. Well, this is it. That's what I mean. Like, again, no one's saying, when you build a company, no one says, what's your degree? People say, what's your business model? What's your purpose? What's your team? So I want to get people to save 4 years of their life and just focus on building something they love or working in something they love and having equity where they work, so get financially literate so they understand that.
It's amazing. And I think I agree with you on most of it. But to be honest, I would have a hard time like telling my kids, just, stop, don't go to that school, or it would reassure me. I mean, and I'm being honest.
I get it. And you're like a lot of parents listening.
Yeah.
We have fear of change. And so you come from a generation as I do. How old are you?
I'm 47.
Right, yeah. Well, we come from a generation where going to university was a special thing. Where going to university was for the 10% of people that were going to be doctors or lawyers, right? So there's something kind of magical about that in our generation's mind. But it's not magical for the generation right now. It's not. The numbers are speaking for themselves. If you want your kid to be exactly the same as all the other kids, then go to university. If you want now you might be in a privileged position where your kids don't get into debt. That does make a difference. But it's also 4 years of your prime life. I took the most amount of risk when I was that age, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I could live on a sofa. Yeah. I could sleep on the floor. I slept on the floor loads. I can't sleep on the floor anymore. I've got a bad back. If I sleep on the floor, that's it. I'm out for a month and I have to see a chiro every week, right? So, but when you're 21, you can take these risks and you can go and build something that you own and you don't have huge life costs like kids and mortgage and all these responsibilities. This is your prime time for risk.
On a créé cette nouvelle société, Clem.
Collision Production, enfin.
C'était simple, compliqué dans ta phobie administrative et la mienne?
C'est vrai qu'administrativement, on a quand même dû tout remettre à plat, de A à Z. On a changé beaucoup de trucs d'ailleurs, mais il y a un truc qu'on n'a pas changé, c'est Conto.
Pour créer la boîte, j'ai jamais vécu une création d'entreprise aussi simple que depuis que j'en crée. Et croyez-moi, j'en ai créé un bon paquet. Donc, création d'entreprise, gestion des comptes pro, tout est hyper simple, quoi.
Tout est hyper simple et surtout, on gère tout de A à Z. Les paiements, la facturation électronique et même toute la gestion de la trésorerie en temps réel, qui peut d'ailleurs rapporter jusqu'à 2% par an. Et Marlène, notre comptable qu'on embrasse, a accès directement à Conto et n'a pas besoin de nous demander aucun document ou rien à remplir.
T'envoies tes petites factures, tu fais ton rapprochement comptable toi-même, juste avec des photos sur ton smartphone. Tu crées une carte à la volée tout le temps. Donc on y va. Si on y va de notre part d'ailleurs, on a quoi?
Ils nous ont donné un code promo. Le code c'est DOIT3M, DOIT3M, pour 3 mois gratuits.
3 mois.
Si vous venez de notre part.
Eh ben écoutez, 3 mois, il n'y a pas de raison de ne pas y aller. Que vous soyez un ancien entrepreneur, un néo-entrepreneur, on va tout de suite chez Conto.
Donc conto.com, tous les outils normalement c'est relou, mais pas celui-là.
Conto.
And you know what? I hosted on my podcast a guy called Laurent Alexandre. He's in. I should introduce you to Laurent. He's. The guy is like surgeon, but like high level surgeon.
Not one of those shaky hand surgeons, you mean? the high end version.
Yeah,
the hands don't shake.
He's in France. He's been to l'ENA, which is like the highest political administration school, like the school where all of the presidents go to. He went to HEC, which is like the most famous business school in France. So he's got like diplomas everywhere. And last winter he was saying, and he wrote a book, he said, don't go to school. It's done. It's done.
I like him already. I like him already. I mean, it has to be caveated with, depends on what you want to do. If you want to be a doctor or you want to be a lawyer, I would say, do some research before you become one of these things. A lot of people have these dreams of being these jobs, let's say a doctor, and they've never actually interviewed a doctor to find out what that life is like, because that is 80 hours a week, high stress. You sure you want it? And by the way, I want people to go and there are people that are naturally inclined to go and be nurses and doctors. You've got to follow what's in your soul and follow what you feel like is your instinct thing to do. But that education side, from nearly 90% of people going to university, I saw marketing degrees advertised last week. Marketing degrees. What the fuck are we talking about? You want to do marketing? Get on TikTok. Yeah. Go work with us. Go work with someone doing marketing at the highest level. That's how you're going to learn, and you'll get paid.
Yeah, because anyway, the guy or the woman who at the school who's going to teach you marketing knows less than what you're going to.
And I saw someone that came out of marketing degree 4 years, and I'm like, how do you make money on TikTok? You can make money on TikTok? Yeah, you can make money on TikTok. Can you? Yeah. How does the algorithm work on YouTube? Algorithm on YouTube? Not sure. I know how YouTube started. We did a case study on it. All right, but how does it make money? How does the thumbnail work with the title? Work with the actual content of the script? No idea. They hadn't spent a week looking at that. So all it is a week.
Plus, if you had spent a week, like on the first year, it would be so different after 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So.
If I was running a marketing degree course, right, open a social media account, every single platform, post every day for a month without fail, every single platform, and see what happens.
Yesterday,
I've just saved you 4 years and £60,000.
Yesterday, one of our auditors contacted me and said, I need an AI training. Could you just recommend me something? And I was like, well, I could, but it takes 2 to 3 months to do to build a good masterclass. We've done a few for business, for the different things. But after 3 months or 4 months, AI has changed like
True.
all the way around. So just go on fucking AI on Anthropic or ChatGPT and just ask it to help you, to train you, and do it yourself. Right?
Ironically, I think training is very different to 4 years of a degree. I do think training is quite useful. Like we have done some free masterclasses on social media. We're actually going to do one on AI. I think there is a hold people's hands as they download it to make sure that they're safe with their data and understand the pros and cons of different ways of doing things.
Sure.
But again, this isn't 4 years. We have an accelerator we're doing for AI. The whole process is 4 weeks and it's free.
Yeah.
And the good thing is most of the people halfway through go, okay, got it. I'm on my own now. And so we're not trying to sell them a course. It's free. And we're not trying to lock them into a 4-year, buy our accommodation, spend money in the area, make sure that you then do a degree after your degree and make the university look good. Thank you very much. We're not doing that. I do think training is important. I do think having a bit of help with training is useful. That's why I make YouTube videos with business knowledge in it. And one of the most popular ones we just did was an AI expert sharing with people how to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's when you say, like, people think they need some special, 4-year course to learn it, or they're going to Harvard to learn. Come on, you just want to say you're going to Harvard, and maybe you want to pretend you're going to do something but not go to work. I don't know.
But actually, you're right. It's even cooler to say I dropped up of a Harvard now. Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like in Paris, but there is definitely an element of like I went to Oxford that is kind of people's catchphrase, and I'm like, okay, so what? I have more respect for people that are building something. And even if it fails, I'm just like, you're trying to do something and you're learning by doing is the best way. Humans learn by doing, right? Not by watching how fire gets made, but by making fire. That's how we've evolved, right?
How do people from Oxford or for all of these great unis, what do they think about you and what you're saying?
Well, the professors and the teachers that I meet generally in education are all behind me. They know the system is restricting learning or teaching the kids what they want to know. A lot of the teachers in the schools in England and Wales here signpost kids to our content when they're struggling to teach them the things they're asking. Kids are saying, I want to learn a bit about business. And the teachers are, I don't know anything about business. Go watch Simon's content and join his community. So teachers generally get it, right? They know. The teachers I meet are, actually teachers in particular as a genre are super caring. They're there not for the money. Teachers are very badly paid. And also quite stressful, low resource available. They're doing it because they want the kids to have a better life. That's why they're doing it. So when they see the kids aren't getting the education they need for the world we're now living in, they're panicking as much as me.
Let me put it another way, or try to find something. So I grew up like in the, how would you say, the armpit of France, right? Like
the armpit of France. I've not heard that before. Is there an armpit in France?
Yeah. It was like
it's not Paris. What's the armpit of France?
It was like deep Normandy in Cherbourg.
Do you think they'd like you calling it that? The armpit of smells. The armpit smells.
I thought maybe it's, I don't know. Isn't it an expression to say like in the
armpit makes it, okay, go on, and maybe it's a cultural difference, but armpit of somewhere makes it sound like a place. Maybe
it's an American expression, or no? I've heard of that. Okay, sorry. Right. Maybe
a good place that is not a capital.
Yeah, true. But so I wanted to go to Paris, and I wanted to learn stuff, obviously. And as you said, it was another moment. But the ecosystem I had at the school was interesting, and it wasn't like really a good school at all, right? It was just a school, right? Random business school. But at the end, what I liked was meeting people from all around France, getting new friends, getting this framework of thinking, of learning, which was very interesting. So I believe that maybe this is interesting. This is something maybe we should keep and use, but with another content inside. That's what you're saying? Or
kind of, yeah. I mean, what you're talking about a little bit, what you have is survival bias. Okay, and survival bias is you had an experience and therefore you think that's the only way to exist. And I have it too. I have survival bias because I did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I left school at 15. And what I discovered is I worked and built an ecosystem. As opposed to like plugging into a community, I built a community around what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I still had friends and I had a community, and I was learning from other business people. So I just wasn't in school talking about the schooly type stuff, right? So I think community is very important. So is the answer to fixing the education system, keep the community and just plug in new content? Partly, yeah. Okay, I can accept that. I think in England in particular, the debt culture, and in America, the debt culture around education is quite scary. It's basically an income tax on that person for life. It's like if I said to you, look, I'll invest in you at 20, I'll give you £1 million, but I want 10% of your income for the rest of your life. You'd probably be smart to say no. That's kind of what these loans are to these young kids. I mean, 19 years old, they're signing loan documents. I don't know. I think in Paris it's free, but in England and in America, you sign a loan document for your cost of university. And that is a tax on you forever. So that another version of that, by the way, is slavery. That is basically you're working for me for the rest of your life because I've given you some food for accommodation and food.
True.
I've given you some money to live. So now I own 10% of you for the rest of your life.
You're right. And actually, it's free. I mean, uni is free, but a lot of schools and business schools are now private in France.
Business school, biggest waste of time ever. I've been asked by so many business schools that they wanted to sponsor me, and they tried to throw big money at me too. No, I'm not interested. It is not the way to build a business. Going to business school and again spending 3 years and all that money, MBAs, huge amounts of money. Put that money into building a business. That's how, or invest in someone's business and help them. You know, you'll learn so much more and potentially make the money back.
Interesting.
I'm the anti-business school. They hate me. But I mean, they asked me when I first sold my company, they asked me to come and talk all these big business schools. They never asked me back after that.
But don't you think, I mean, in business or anywhere else, but as you said, you want to reinvent, or would there be a way to do it better, or just the way is just not doing it and learning by doing only?
Well, I think learning to me is a combination of things. First of all, it's understanding the practical realities of what you need to know, and then it's applying yourself. Right. So Elon Musk has started his own school in America, and his kind of sum up of it I quite like, which is he doesn't give kids a book on how to put an engine together. He puts an engine in the middle of the room and tells them to put it together. And so that's then you get a book out and you're reading and you're applying. And then you've got a community around you that are all building the engine together. So because again, in the typical school system, you'll do an exam on your own, right? Sit down and do an exam on your own. You get an A, you're a success. You get a D, you're a failure. In the real world, everything the school teaches you in the real world is the opposite. So I have only been able to be successful because I got a team around me. I don't sit and do an exam on my own. I get the 50 talented people in the company to help me do the exam. Then we definitely get an A every time and we ace it. So why would I sit there and do it on my own? But the school system makes you believe you've got to somehow do it all on your own. And so again, I think education to me is community. Definitely think there's a huge part. I think it's accountability. That's a huge part. I think it's applying the knowledge is probably the most important thing, and ultimately focusing on something that you actually care about. You know, you want to put an engine together because it's cool. You know, you're going to enjoy doing it. It's got to be fun. Education has become a thing you have to do to get this job that you're not even sure you want. To then please the people that are.
And you discover 20 years later.
Yeah,
you didn't want actually,
how many people do we know? I can just reel off names of people in their 40s that I know that have followed this treadmill that we're talking about and are unhappy. They're leaving at 6 o'clock in the morning and coming back at midnight. They're not seeing their kids just to keep up with lifestyle inflation, where they thought owning a couple of houses was the dream. They thought owning some expensive car was the dream, and not owning their time. And their bosses are telling them this, that, and the other. You know, you're going to lose your job to AI unless you work harder. You have to work more to justify your salary. People just can't keep up, and they're not having the fun life that they were told at 20. If you go put in anything you like that sounds fancy, and you'll have a great life. And then they are that lawyer, and they are not enjoying it. And whereas I think entrepreneurship is the opposite. Entrepreneurship is really hard at the beginning and gets easier over time. Working for someone else is easier at the beginning and gets harder over time.
Very interesting. That's so much what I lived in the past 20 years, yeah. Simon, maybe we have some people in France, at least, listening to us or around the world that don't know you.
What?
Would you?
How rude!
Would you please introduce yourself before we go further in this episode? I want you to explain dreams and a lot of things, but I want to know who you are exactly.
Well, I find it hard to describe myself these days. I'm a middle-aged man on TikTok. I think it's probably what the hell am I doing? If you type angel investor on TikTok, I come number one on their search. TikTok now is the third largest search engine. So it's kind of fascinating. I mean, ultimately, I am a business person. I started a business at 15 years old, and that was a gardening company, so not very sexy. And then about, I guess now coming up to 10 years ago, I sold a company called Fluid that I built out of Hong Kong. and I sold it to PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I retired for a few years. And then I realized that retirement, the whole cliche, it's you retire, then you die. And I started to. And I thought, no, I've got more to give. And I started to realize that the education system was exactly the same as when I left when I was 15. I had no knowledge of how to operate in the real world when I left school. I didn't know how money worked. I didn't understand things like sales, which can be taught. I had no understanding of like the real world and how it operated. So I was like, okay, I'm going to fix the school system. So initially I looked into getting into politics and soon realized that was a cesspit. And I hired a consultant to help me get into politics. And the first thing they kind of told me was I would have to lie and say Brexit was a good idea. And I just couldn't. It's not a smart decision, Brexit. I was saying it then, I say it now. And so if you want to get elected though, Simon, to then go fix the education system, you have to pretend that's a good idea. So every single politician in the last 10 years has basically had to lie to get elected, baseline. And I just wasn't willing to do it. I wasn't willing to compromise my values. So then I realized, okay, I can't go into the system and fix it. So I'm going to have to build something from outside the system. And initially I did a podcast and I would interview successful entrepreneurs with the idea.
Fun idea, podcast.
Yes, what a great idea.
Never going to work.
It's never going to work.
No.
Actually, my podcast didn't work. In fairness, I did 150 episodes. No one's probably ever heard of it. It's called the Good Luck Club podcast.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. And what it did turn into was the baseline education program for what we do now. So what I didn't do was have high-profile people on it. I just had people that built it from scratch.
This is a fun fact, though. I mean, I didn't know you had a podcast. 150 episodes is a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it's very inspirational. I mean, just that Simon Squibb had a podcast that didn't work.
Perfect.
And you don't care.
That should be the headline, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Simon Squibb's fail podcast. I see the thumbnail right now.
Maybe it's going to grow then afterwards. But
yeah, well, I think, to be honest, it's one of those things where I just wanted to interview normal people that had built a business to show normal people they could build a business. Because most people do interview people like me. I've got 21 million followers online. I get 500 million views a month. We get billions of views a year, of course, of content where I walk up to people and I ask them, what is their dream? They tell me the reason they're not doing it and we remove the excuse and they go on to do it. That's it.
It might work today. I mean, there might be a shift. Yeah. These normal people. What I'm saying is that I recorded a few weeks ago with a guy, and no offense, I love him and I love this episode, but Joseph Lasserre, and he's buying boring businesses,
right?
And old school boring businesses, and he's buying like construction businesses mostly, and buying, and now he's making a shit ton of money, and the episode is just massive, and people love it. And it's interesting. I think people somehow maybe fed up with just only very successful people.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. Well, that is the formula for a podcast. Yeah. Generally, if you want a popular podcast, the formula is interview people that are well-known that can promote you on their well-known platforms, right? So I will promote this podcast to my 21 million followers. Right now on the live, we've probably got a few thousand people that are listening to the podcast right now. It's the smart way to build a podcast. The thing is, I was personally interested in stories that were relatable because my story is a little bit unrelatable. Like I was homeless and then I went to Hong Kong and I built a business and I sold it for a lot of money. And then I started social media and now I'm the most popular business person in the UK on social media.
You've been homeless?
Yeah, I was homeless at 15.
Like in the street?
In the street, couch surfing. I was kicked out of home at 15. My father died. I was hungry a couple of days. Yeah, I mean, I was only homeless in total for 8 weeks. And this is one of the reasons I'm so bullish.
Is a lot. I mean, would you say only, but 8 weeks at 15, my God.
Yeah, to me, when I look back, it was a horrific experience, but equally it was very humbling. And I found some joy in the freedom, as crazy as it sounds. I think that for me as well, now I know I can go back to nothing and be all right. So I can take risk. I think this middle class trap, they call it, right? Where you have something and you're scared to lose it. So you have an okay job or, you have an okay home and you're scared of having less.
Okay husband.
Okay husband, maybe, or okay wife sometimes. But, I think it's like, for me, I realized that having nothing was actually really freeing. There's no luggage, literally. There's no baggage. There's nothing to carry around.
And you were still at school at the same time?
I left school. I couldn't go to school because I didn't have anywhere to sleep. I didn't have clean clothes. So what actually happened was Initially, my father died suddenly of a heart attack. And then a short while after, I had an argument with my mum, and two stubborn people, she kicked me out of home. She said, get out of my home. And I did, and I never went back. And so I initially found, a place to stay with friends and a few days here, a few days there. I slept at a park. I slept in a stairwell, which is one of the reasons I bought a stairwell. I found the whole thing both scary, but it was weirdly liberating because I wasn't under anyone else's rules anymore. I was out of the school system. And so the first instinct I had, like all of us probably in this situation, is I tried to get a job. But in England, you need a national insurance number, which you don't get until you're 16. So I didn't have that, and I didn't have an address. So I couldn't get a job, and I tried to get a job. Then I went to social services, which is supposed to be, there to help you. They told me to get lost, basically.
No
I went
way.
there. Well, the reason is logical at the time. When I queued up and I got to the booth and I said, I'm homeless, I need help. And they said, okay, we're going to put you on a list. There's 6 people in front of you on this list in the area I was in, and they all have kids. So, you're a man, basically. I looked like a man at 15. I was 6'1", I'm not. And so basically they were like, we don't think we're going to be able to give you accommodation, but come back and stay in touch and blah, blah, blah. So at the time it sounded fair to me, like, 6 people in front of me with kids, that's a priority over me. So I just felt like, okay, I ticked one of the boxes I was taught, go to social services, tick the box trying to get a job. And then my entrepreneur muscle woke up in my brain. And that's why I tell everyone can be an entrepreneur, because it's there. And this brain of mine, just part of my brain came alive that had never been activated in school. It's almost like your imagination at 5.
Is it like survival?
It's partly survival, but it's also like, actually, I always tell people, if you want to be successful, you don't just want to be successful. You need to need it. You need to need it. And if you need it, you will do it. And so I had a situation where I had no other choice. I was going to be caught in the homeless trap. Who knows? Maybe for decades.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done something. And I tried the 2 things school taught me, right? Get a job, social services. You pay your taxes for the social benefit system. So get a job to pay your taxes for the social benefit system. It's this loop in my head. But no one at school had ever said to me, you know what? If you've got an idea in your head, you can make it real. I'm like, what? And that's what happened to my brain. My brain got so desperate for a way out, the entrepreneur muscle woke up for the first time in my brain. Every single one of your listeners has it. Every single human has it. It's basically our imagination that gets suppressed around 5 or 6. Around 5 or 6 years old, we get told to stop playing around and memorize this. Stop playing around and learn this history. Stop playing around and learn this, learn this, learn this. And your brain gets told to stop having fun. And suddenly my brain wasn't having fun, but it was like, okay, let's use this muscle to get out of this situation. And I was walking past this big house, and this house, which was very valuable, had a really messy garden. And my brain spoke to me for the first time, and it said, that's a nice house. I love that house. Why is their garden so messy? If they've got a nice house, why are they not keeping their garden tidy? And then my brain said, well, maybe they don't have time to tidy that garden up. Maybe they'll pay you to tidy that garden up. So without even thinking about it, I went and knocked on the front door of that house, and I said, hi, my name's Simon Squibb. I'm starting a gardening company. I wondered if you'd pay me to tidy up your garden because it's pretty messy. They went, oh, great, sure, I'm so busy, so much going on. Yeah, that'll be great. How much are you going to charge? And I just picked a number out of the air, £200 a month. And they said, sure, all right, we'll give it a go. It was very much give it a go. I mean, I think they were going to see if I was an idiot or not, but give it a try. And that's it. I got my first gardening client.
And did you know?
No, nothing about gardening. Absolutely nothing. And that was another experience, because it turns out I did find what I was good at, but it wasn't gardening. But what I was good at was knocking on doors and accepting rejection. Rejection meant nothing to me at that point. I could accept rejection because I had nothing to lose. There was no embarrassment if someone slammed the door in my face. It's all right, one more, go to the next one. I had no choice. Whereas I think if some people who have a choice, a door slammed in their face, they might be like, oh, I don't like this. So I didn't mind.
What was the most difficult part at that moment? I mean, did you have friends? Did you have hope? Were you scared? I mean, sleeping in the park when you're 15 must be quite scary, though.
It wasn't. It was just the way it was. I didn't really feel like it was a choice. And I think there were certain moments that were scary. A few nights I slept in the high street and people like getting drunk and throwing things at you. And, the guy next to me who was sleeping next to me, he got peed on, like you see some awful things, drug use, abuse of alcohol, those sorts of things.
Did you drink?
Fights. No, I've never drunk alcohol my whole life. Okay. And I think partly because of what I saw when I was homeless. A lot of people, that 15, 16-year-old kids start drinking, right? I saw what it done to people, how it had destroyed their minds. I always think of Barney Rubble, out of The Simpsons. As soon as he drinks, it changes you, right? So I just didn't want to fall into that trap. So I think a lot of the experiences I had when I was 15 and I always tell people bad luck is actually sometimes good luck in disguise. It kind of gives you grounding. And I've got an 8-year-old son. I have no plans of ever kicking him out, but something magical happened because of it. I had bad luck, right? But I was free. But the sad bit was I've got 3 brothers. I suddenly had no contact with them. And of course, I went from my dad being around to suddenly no contact with my dad, no contact with my mum. So there was moments where I did cry myself to sleep. But if I look back, it's just part and parcel of maturing or accepting change. Humans don't like change, and death is part of life. So that compounded with suddenly not having a family around me, it was difficult. All my school friends as well, I didn't see them anymore because I left school. And all of that stuff was really hard, like going cold turkey on a life you had. But I built a new life. And,
did you have a good relationship with your father?
It was okay. I think I was 15. I was going through hormonal changes. Yeah. And, I had a girlfriend. I think sometimes you rebel a little bit at that age towards your parents. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I don't think I was particularly rebellious. Now I know the world better. I think I was a pretty good kid. But, I guess maybe as a parent, sometimes if your kids are playing up, it's tricky to deal with a 15-year-old, isn't it? And I did think I was an adult. I did think I was a very mature 15-year-old, and I thought I knew a lot. And yeah, and I did see a world where, entrepreneurship was, when I look back now, I realized that school wasn't the best fit for me, but I didn't know entrepreneurship was the answer. School never gave me entrepreneurship as an option. School gave me an option of get a job or maybe apprenticeship. But even then, I like being independent. I'm an independent thinker. I question everything. Whatever the textbook says, I don't necessarily take as the truth. I don't read the newspaper and take it as the truth. I have a questioning mind. And I think probably as a parent, that could be probably quite challenging because my parents would tell me stuff and I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. And, as a parent, my son will all the time contradict me. I quite like it. But I think, old school parenting was very much no, what I say is the rule, right? It's a little bit more old school. Nowadays, my son will tell me something and often I'm like, I didn't know that. You're probably right. He's got the internet at his fingertips to find out the truth and he's got the time to search when I haven't, so...
And how long did it go? Did you go on the gardening business?
So the gardening business was kind of exciting at the beginning because I discovered people will pay you to take care of their garden. And then because I initially borrowed equipment from someone who's said, take care of their garden. I said, can I borrow your equipment? So I didn't have any equipment. They said yes. And I started doing the gardening work itself. And it's really hard. Gardening is really hard. I'm not good at it. So then I brought in some of my homeless friends to help me do the work, and I just became the guy that knocked on doors to convince more people to let us take care of their garden. But I made a critical mistake, and I didn't realize the business lasted about 8 months, and it grew and grew and grew. It was going from strength to strength. I started at a very low cost base, right? I'm borrowing other people's equipment.
It wasn't official, was it?
No. It's all cash in hand.
Okay, yeah.
So again, I do not advise that.
Yeah.
I tell people now, get a bank account, do it all properly. But back then, again, I don't want to say it was a different time, but
it was.
Someone pay you some money to do the garden when you're 15. No one's getting into trouble for that. But I made a big mistake because I didn't think ahead enough, and I didn't realize that England has a winter. So
Sure.
No one told me. And when the winter came, everyone just said, "Oh, we're going to hold for a few months. Come back in the spring." So I was like, "Oh shit!" And the business went from doing really well to just dead.
Hopefully you had savings because
this is the thing.
Winter with no money in England, it must be good.
It was pretty interesting because I see these stats ever since then. So I turned 16 when I was running the business, and so I got accommodation, so I had an address. I turned 16, I got my national insurance number, and then the business failed. But two things that kind of, because you see all the time, businesses, 90% of businesses fail in the first year. That's the stat that people throw out all the time. Which is not true, by the way.
Isn't it?
In England, 23% of businesses fail in the first year. 64% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. But what these stats that I think are deliberately put out there to put people off doing it, so that you work for someone else, what those stats don't really give you the nuance on, I have fallen into the stats every time. So my first business failed. But in the 8 months that I built that business up, I made money and I made savings. And more importantly, I learned how to do it. So now you can't take the learning away from me. So now I know how to build a business. I've learned it through 8 months and I've got savings. So I got myself out of homelessness. I got accommodation. I got my national insurance number. As soon as that business failed, I did get a job. But not for long, because my brain had woken up to the idea that I can take an idea in my head and make it real.
What kind of job can you get at 16 with no school? And
Well, I built a business.
Okay.
Every person I went and, I'm going to see what this get a job thing's like. So I went for interviews. Every single person I interviewed with was blown away that I had built a business.
Nice.
No one wouldn't give me a job. What 16-year-old that's built a business that's made money, wouldn't give you, everyone would give me a job. And you know, like back to Anton at Lovable, who was telling me that, you know, he's hiring 14, 15-year-old AI developers. Right. Age is not the issue, is it? It's your application and your experience. You can give yourself the experience. So I got a job at a hotel, and I actually fell into, for a little while, the whole addiction to a salary. There's something really nice about the money coming in every month, and that money comes in is mine. Yeah. I totally understand the addiction, but the security is false, because you're not really building up value. All you're building up is an income stream that any moment could get cut off. You don't also own the income stream. So if you do well one month, unless you're in sales, which, you know, even then, but you don't own equity in the businesses you're working on. It's dumb. Every single week that I was working there, I'm like, this is just dumb. Why am I doing this? I don't own this business. So the value I'm building in the brand, I don't get any value from that. I was told to build a brand, not a business. Why would I do that? My brain had woken up. Once you're awake, anybody that's been an entrepreneur more than a year can't go back and work for someone else. But if you were looking at data, I love data to prove my theories, because people will always question it. You go and find anyone that's been their own boss for a year, they'll moan like hell how hard it was. Then you say to that same person, okay, give me your equity, I'll take it over. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. Okay, go work for someone else. If it's so hard being an entrepreneur, give it all up, go work for someone else. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. So what does that tell you from a data point of view? Working for yourself is the right way to go. Because you own equity where you work, you're building value where you are. Yes, it's hard. That's part of the fun. Stop moaning, entrepreneurs, is what I say.
You shouldn't say it so loud, though, because, I mean...
I know, then everyone's going to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and plus, I mean, how can we do it if everybody works for himself or herself?
Perfect.
Nobody will work for you or...
Great.
I mean...
Great. I tell everybody here, right, if they have a path to equity...
What the fuck are you doing here, guys?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing here? What is wrong with... They all have a path to equity. And this is actually a very important point, right? If your missions align, I want to fix the education system and help people follow their dream, right? Everybody here is the same. Every single person here, and some of them do, by the way, have their own businesses. And so the thing is, I always look at I'd rather own 5% of Facebook than 100% of MySpace. So ownership is one thing, but value of equity is another. So everybody in my company who has a role where they're happy with it, the plan is that they have a path to equity. The thing is, if they can go start their own business, I will also support them to do that. But they're not trapped in my business through lack of education. That's what I think a lot of employers do want. They want their employees to have a lack of knowledge so that they stay with them. I personally think it's much smarter to give people the knowledge to have the intellect to decide what's right for them. And if they decide, any of my team, to go do their own thing, I will support them. But they decide to stay with me. I want people that can run their own businesses. I don't want people that are subservient. I want people to have the ability to create that. You want the smartest people in the room, right? Now, the argument is, by being a part of my organization, they get equity in what we're doing. Then long term, they're going to make the same amount of money as if they get more, hopefully, than if they go do it on their own. 1 + 1 = 11. But I'm not going to keep them ignorant to ensure that. I'm going to keep them educated so that they know.
So what you're saying basically is that when you're an entrepreneur, you promote entrepreneurship, you
Exactly.
have to give equity.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. And then people say, well, who's going to... I get a lot of people hate me for this, by the way. They're like, who's going to take out the rubbish? I'm like, robots. Yeah, robots. It's only because humans are cheaper right now than robots to do it. But why would you imagine today if Elon Musk said, "Hey, I've invented a human. I've look at the human. He recharges himself. He can reproduce other robots, and they feed themselves. They learn themselves. Oh my God, I've invented a human." And we're like, "Oh my God!"
Plus, you can give equity to the person taking out the rubbish. I mean,
you could,
yeah.
I mean, you would have a more
waiting
loyal
for the
workforce.
robot doing this. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is like we have dumbed down humans, and we're like, if we invented a human today, we'd be, oh my God, how much would that invented human be? $1 billion? $10 billion? If you invented a human, I can't even put $1 trillion. That human, oh my God, we made you. Oh my God, Elon Musk shares would go through the roof, right? Look what's happening with his Tesla robots. They're just trying to reinvent humans. Okay? So it's like, the way I look at it, it's like, why would you invent a human and then get them standing in McDonald's saying, what burger do you want? Why would you invent something as sophisticated, as brilliant as a human and give them those non-intellectual jobs? It just doesn't make any sense. Right now, the system needs those robots, humans, but I think the future is giving everyone agency over their life and freedom to grow their mind, grow their personal brand, and do what they love.
What I like about what you do, and this is very rare, I think, and I have to say my podcast is listened mainly by, I would say, educated people.
They're going to hate me, aren't they?
No, I don't think, not at all. Not at all. I don't think so. And they're nice people, most of them.
Oh, please be nice. I'm open to debates on all of that I'm discussing
but they're
today.
nice people and smart. But what I like in what you're doing is that you're aiming everyone, and maybe poor people at first. I mean, people, uneducated people, and I think it's a great thing, Simon. Really, it's something that those people. I mean, we don't address them because they don't have money. So
that's true.
So they won't sell stuff. I mean, I won't sell stuff to them, and I won't find advertisers for them, or maybe banks that will give them expensive loans.
No one wants anything to do with the group of people I'm initially helping.
And I think it's interesting because it's really. I'm not so much into religions, but it makes me think about this. Learn to people how to fish, right? You're really into that. Goal, it seems to me.
Give them a fishing rod, not a fish. 100%. And when I profiled the people that we're helping, there's no money for a course selling thing. They don't have any money. And so you're right, getting sponsors, all of it is very, very tough. But that's what excites me about it. No one's helping these people. And if we do, it's actually a good 80% of the market.
But if I go even further, is that I was kind of doing that with my podcast. What I'm saying is that I wanted to give everyone access to the best brains and the most successful people in the world. I believe that we're the average of the people we hang out with.
Yes.
My podcast is 100% free. So, everybody can listen to it. But still at the end, there is a way of talking, a place of talking. I guess I put barriers around, which are not made on purpose. Are you on your side on purpose, trying to open those barriers, make your content accessible, make people, I mean, is it something you've been working on really?
I think the focus has always been to compete with the education system. So if you're going to compete with the education system, one of the tricky things is it's free. The biggest selling point of the present day education system is it's free. Generally, until you get to university, it's free. So to do it, we have to be free. That instantly opens up more doors. Now, podcast listening is a slightly different thing, but like generally like access, if you put a paywall behind it, let's take, for example, I did a YouTube video. It's a business video. It's 2 hours and 26 minutes. It's had 17 million views on YouTube. It's the most popular business video, organic, on YouTube in the world, according to YouTube. So when we devised that video, when I wrote up the basic script and then we were going to record it, me and the team, we had a meeting and we looked at it and said, do you know what? This 2 hour, 26 minute video is a course. Now, in theory, we could chop it up into 10 pieces and sell it for £2,000. And then we said, okay, I'm like, I don't want to charge people for help, but let's just ask. We had a small database, email database back in those days. Why don't we email our database and see how many people would pay? So we emailed our database, and 4,100 people came back saying they would pay £2,000 for the course, for this learning on business. Everything you need to know about business, how to build a brand, how to do social media, everything, right? £2,000. That's £10 million profit instantly by a video that I've already scripted out. We're just going to record it and cut it up. And then, and over the next 6 weeks, you can watch these videos and pay us, right? But we didn't take the money. We put it up on YouTube for free. Now 17 million people have got access to that knowledge. The video itself on YouTube makes money as well, nowhere near £10 million. I think with affiliates and sponsorship, we're probably about £800,000 profit. But still, more importantly, why would you give the knowledge to a select few that can afford it? Why would you do that to the world? Yes, to make £10 million. I get it. But that stuff is so sad. So when you make something valuable free, it has value. A lot of people think if you give something free, it has no value. That's because they put no value in free. My point being that I'm not targeting a particular group. I'm offering value to a particular group for free, which means our numbers will always be higher. It's like if it's Instagram charged for its use, only bankers could use it. They'd pay it, it'd make some money, and you'd have people advertising on it. But then, you could argue there'd be thousands of young people that can't launch their dancing careers or their music careers or their creative careers on Instagram because it's only available to bankers, right? So it's a business model change. But my idea was always I wanted to help the 15-year-old me, that kid who has no money, who needs knowledge, that doesn't have access to it, give it to the 15-year-old me.
A big part of your narrative and value proposition, I would say, is based on a dream, right? And it's the name of the company, right?
Yeah,
is it?
It is.
And the problem I see with my friends or people who listen to us is mostly I want to be an entrepreneur. I so want to try this, but I have no idea. I have no dream. And you're like, come on. You must have something, right? I guess it's something you face all the time. With your videos, because most of the time when I see you on Instagram or on TikTok, you go to someone and we see him or her saying always, you say, what's your dream? So that's the question you ask everyone. And they always go, my dream is, but you must see 80% of them saying, I don't know.
Well, I've done it all over the world. It's been a cultural survey. So in America, every single person has a dream. I have not met someone in America, and I went up to someone who's trying to get food out of the bin and asked them their dream. They've got a dream. Every single person in America has a dream because they're literally born into this concept of the American dream. The American dream is so prevalent. It's talked about at home, right? What's your American dream? The American dream is defined, right, as kind of almost like an entrepreneur journey.
And their answer is instant.
Instant. In England, I would say 60% of people don't have a dream. On average, I would say approximately. I'm talking about, I've interviewed 10,000 people, right? So my survey sample is bigger than most CNN surveys, but
that's fascinating.
But what I've noticed with the English mindset is there's a huge debt problem. So what the brain is in fight or flight for a lot of people in Britain. They don't have the capacity for imagination because they're fight or flight. The lion's coming towards them, i.e. they can't pay their bills. They can't eat. They're worried about their rent. Their brain won't let them think about anything other than getting away from the lion that's coming towards them. They're in fight or flight.
But does that mean they don't have a dream or they don't know their dream?
It means that they have had no time to think about their dream.
So
they're running.
At the end, they don't have any then?
They will. If they could stop running away from the lion and just calm down, i.e. not have 2 jobs, not have to be on the treadmill to survive, they have a dream because everyone has a thing they're good at. Everybody has a thing they care about if they're given time to think about it. And so in France, by the way, I've seen a slightly different thing. And I'm being very general, but what I noticed in France is they've got too many options. So they've got the kind of would like to own a house dream. I'd like to get a good job dream. I want to have a nice car dream. There's a lot of materialistic structural things in France. So a lot of the time, Like in Hong Kong,
I would have hoped it wasn't true like this. I mean, this is very disappointing.
I'm being very general. I mean, I don't think it's. The thing is, a lot of people in
it's true. No,
in
I'm
France,
not saying it's wrong.
There's a bit of a, almost like I see a hierarchy in France of like class.
I'd say
hierarchy.
the house must be very true. I mean, I don't know, ownership of your flat or your house is in France. It's just like everyone. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I would have said like the car or all of these would be more American than French. But what you're saying is that in the US, their dreams are more I want to be this, I want to do that job, I want more than I want to own.
In America, there's a lot of problem solving.
Okay.
A lot of people want to solve problems that they have experienced.
That's amazing.
Care
mindsets.
homes that don't, that didn't are affordable because they didn't have a care home for their parent, or a lot of solution orientated mindset in America. And we all slag off Americans. We slag off Americans. It's kind of like a joke right now, isn't it, with the whole Trump situation? But Americans as a population are very entrepreneurial. They're very innovative. And you look at the days of holiday that they have. I think days of holiday are also interesting data. You look at the amount of holidays they have in America, very, very little. Because the idea is that you're working and you're enjoying your work, so why do you need time off? But people look in horror. If you go to Europe, I mean, you go to other markets, and I was in Portugal recently. Holiday is the key dream, time off doing nothing, right? So markets and their holiday is a very good indication of the ambition of that country. America is one of the lowest holiday markets. I think they have on average 2 days a year holiday in America.
Yeah, so, the retirement age, same. I mean, like people who dream to retire, probably they're in the wrong place right now.
Well, no, Americans don't want to retire.
Yeah.
Look at the Rupert Murdochs of this world. They don't want to stop. They're not going to stop.
And what in HK? You were about to talk about Hong Kong.
Well, Hong Kong is very banker, finance orientated. So in that market, it's about, people want a fancy banking job, right? So, so they want the high profile.
I want to be a banker. Well,
kind of, yeah. They want to be in finance. It's like, I don't know if you've seen that song.
Is that an okay dream for you?
I never judge the dream. I just judge the thinking. So I always say, how have you got there? What is it about a house that makes you feel like that or make you happy if you owned it? So I'm not there to judge the dream. I think materialistic dreams are a distraction. So I try to educate people about what sort of dream will get them the house. If you dream of having a house, it's like chasing money. You're likely to never get it because you're chasing money. The way to make money is have it attracted to you. And you do that by creating value. So my question when people say they want a house, for example, is great. How are you going to get it? What's the plan? And that's where people fall over because they're like, well, I've got a job right now. I guess get more salary. I'm like, it's not going to happen. You can get a mortgage. You'll be in debt. That mortgage company will own your house. And maybe if you work non-stop and never miss a payment for 30 years, maybe you'll own it if bank interest rates stay normal and we don't have an upset, right? But, is that really the only plan you've got? This 35-year own a house when you're old? Is that the only plan? So I question the method in which people's dreams may happen to try and help people maybe wake up to what I call the real dream, which is something much more aspirational than possessions.
So what do we say? What do I say to my friends? Or what do you say to the people who are, as you said, maybe too busy to have dreams? What is the method? How do you have a dream?
Well, I think first, you have to come out of fight or flight. So sometimes the exercise is just imagine you've got $10 million. Just sit back, just dream for a second. You've got $10 million. You don't have to worry about paying the rent. You don't have to worry about food. Just try to embrace this mindset just for a second, and let people come out of panic mode. Now, sometimes it's a saying, right? You stick a nail in my foot. 15 years from now, I won't know it's there if you leave it there. It's like you get used to the stress. You get used to that feeling of like panic. It just becomes your life. You just call it life. But people are in such a high state of stress, they don't even know they're there. And sometimes if you can get people out of it, the imagination part of their brain, where the entrepreneur muscle loves to live the most actively, can come alive. Because your brain can come up with crazy ideas that take time to invest in, time before the money comes in. None of that's possible if you're running away from a lion.
So you have to just think, if you had $10 million, what would you do?
Yes.
That's
yes. And frankly, it's a good exercise for anyone to do.
So many people would say, I'll do fucking nothing.
No, they won't. So what happens is, most people will be like, okay, this is what happens. I mean, I'm just picking an example. I had someone yesterday. They buy a house. Okay. They go on a holiday. Okay. Buy a nice car. Okay. And then what? They have to do something. Humans need something to do. That's my problem with universal basic income as a solution to the AI problem. No, we need something to do. Humans can't just sit around. Look what happened at COVID. We can't just sit around doing nothing. Mental health prices will go through the roof. Humans need something to do. I think everyone could, if we can make everyone rich, this could wake up a huge wave of innovation. Because then people are like, okay, what can I do that's going to make me happy? What can I do to solve a problem in the world? And people are going to start applying themselves. And most people will end up coming up with something that is not about them, but how to make the world a better place, and that gives them purpose. That's what happened to me. This is exactly what happened to me. I sold my company. I don't need to worry about money anymore. And at first I was selfish. I bought a house, bought a nice car. I had a baby, so that kept me busy. And then slowly I'm like, no, I need to do something. Playing golf all day is not doing something. I need to have a purpose. And that's when I came up with this fixed education idea. And so I think if we can help everyone get to that point, actually get them rich or get them in the mindset of being rich, innovation wave is coming our way.
Did you make $10 million?
I made a lot more than that.
Okay. And that at that moment, did you live your dream before?
I would say I enjoyed every single day of my working life. I wouldn't say I lived my dream. I was partly in fight or flight as well for part of my life. Just making sure I wasn't homeless again. Just making sure that I could pay the bills. And then when I started hiring people, it was a huge responsibility. I was also just chasing to try and make sure I got a new client to pay the new bill. So that sort of, I was in fight or flight for a good 10, 15 years of my life. And I think then I met the right person called Helen Griffiths, who's now my wife. And she got me thinking this way a little bit more and got me out of fight or flight a little bit more. She'd be like, well, why are we doing this? What's the reason for? She's questioned my run mentality, build mentality. And I think that opened up my mind to purpose in business, purpose in your life. And when I was younger, I mean, I was so desperate to survive.
The Helen I've seen to tell her is behind the Simon Squibb.
Yeah,
I know we all see now. That's what you're saying.
She is.
You would still be in that rat race right now?
People often ask me, who's your biggest mentor? I tell them, my wife. No doubt about it. And she's been there every step of the way in my purpose journey. And yeah, I want to be a better person because of her. She helps me be a better person because of her. She's helped me upgrade my moral code. She's helped me figure out what is actual happiness, because sometimes we don't know, right? You need to own the fancy car to know that it doesn't make you happy. You kind of know, you don't know until you've had the experiences. You can hear it all day long from a rich person. I can tell you right now, all your listeners, money won't make you happy. Oh, well, I'd like to have it. It's better. A lot of people say it's better to have it than not, right? Yes, but it can also bring you a lot of misery. Because if you have money and you have no purpose, I know a lot of people like that are very miserable. So it's like education. You only want lots of money when you're already happy. It will add to your happiness if you're already happy. It will actually cause you a lot of pain if you're already in pain. That's why a lot of people, like musicians who are drug addicts, make a lot of money and just die, over drug overdose. More money will add to the problem you've already got. More money will add to the happiness you've already got. So make sure you're happy before you get rich.
Were you happy before you got rich?
Yeah.
But you were traumatized somehow. It's interesting because what you said earlier on, I'm not a psychiatrist though, but right. You needed to make sure you had enough money not to go back in the streets.
Yeah.
Even though, as you said, and I often say to myself, if I go, maybe not in the street, but if I go and do the dishwashing in a restaurant, but I still have my dreams and go on, I'll be happy. I know that, but still you had that stress of losing everything.
Yeah. Well, I've been to see a psychiatrist. I've spent money on my mental health and I'm talking about it. Sometimes that's half of it. A problem shared is a problem halved, right? I'm explaining my past. I'm not hiding it. And I think people that go to therapy stop themselves from going too far down this rabbit hole of like negative thinking. There was the longest time I did have my father left me, like I was angry. And then I went to see a therapist. And
even though he died.
Of course, it's not his fault. But in my mind, like he died and then I had this hard life, right? But then, going to see therapy has helped me understand, and having a good wife and good friends around me has helped me see how something horrible has actually been a gift. So instead of seeing it as my father has left me, I see it as he gave me a gift of a life I've got now. And I'm grateful to him as opposed to angry at him. And I think that's the therapy you need to go through. I think everyone should go to therapy, but I also think your purpose in life comes from your pain.
A friend of mine just got fired from a job after 24 years. And that was kind of my first reaction, but I think I tried not to tell him exactly right now, but it was too fast though. But my first reaction was, oh boy, that's the best thing that is going to happen in your life.
That's what I thought as soon as you said it.
But how can I help him? I mean, because I understand that he's still under the shock. So what can I do for him?
I've got a podcast episode for him. I think stories like this, it's like anything. There's a story of twins who were born into a family where the father was a drunk, right? And one of the kids grows up to be really successful, and one grows up to be a drunk. And they were both interviewed in like a research thing. Why do you think you were successful? And why do you think you grew up as a drunk? What was the difference? And the interview answer to like, why do you think your life's turned out this way was exactly the same for both people. So the person who was really successful said, I've been successful because my father was a drunk and I never want to be like that. And the other one who was a drunk said, I'm a drunk today because my father was a drunk. So I think this sort of junction this person's at, they have to remember to make it good luck, not bad luck. So turn it into a positive. Whatever that is for them. That could be initially...
And it's your call to do that.
Exactly. You can be a victim, or you can take agency over your life and turn it into a positive. If you've worked for 24 years, I hope you've got savings, because maybe the first step is to spend a bit more time with your family reconnecting. Take the moment. Go and spend time on your fitness and your well-being. Get yourself into a better place. Invest in yourself a little bit. You spent 24 years investing in someone else's business. Now invest in yourself a little bit. And then maybe... if you can keep yourself out of fight or flight, you'll realize that all of this has happened for a reason. So what is that reason? And the question I would ask that person if they were listening is, what problem do you want to solve in the world?
That's a way to find your dream?
I think so. And if you can find pain, attach it to some pain that you've had, that's where your purpose is. So that's what they need to do. And maybe it's helping other people who worked for a company for 24 years, who got kicked out, rebuild their lives. Maybe that ends up being, ironically, what he does to help other people do it.
Okay, I have another friend. Those are true stories, right? Who left his job, very well-paid job, to create his own company, and it didn't succeed. And in the middle, he divorced, and now he's going back to another job, and he's very frustrated. And I'm lost about what I can tell him, because, I mean, he cannot afford to be an entrepreneur anymore.
Has he got kids?
Yeah, 2. And are
they in private schools?
Not sure, but yeah.
Look, I think life is a journey, and you're going to have highs and lows. I would say, I don't know about the divorce thing, but if starting a business causes you a divorce, you're probably better off without them. So maybe you found out about someone. I would say blaming the business is one thing, but more like, I would guess, loyalty, support, encouragement. Maybe that person was only with that person because they provided them with business class tickets. So, you're better off without people that are just using you. As much as divorce is horrible, I'd never want a divorce. But then again, I have been poor and my wife has supported me. I have been through very stressful moments. Instead of adding to my stress, she's helped me through it. So I've seen her true colours through difficult times. So taking the divorce out of it, because that's not a nice situation, of course, for anyone. I would say that as far as experience is concerned, he will always have a story that he tried to do something. What you don't want is being 90 years old, telling a story about how you didn't try to do something. You don't want regret. He won't have regret, at least. He did something. And I can tell you, as someone who gets invited to a lot of things, I sit next to people that have this banker life and they have no problems, and life's really kind of, I earn this money and I sell this to someone and I work for JP Morgan. I fall asleep listening to those stories. But if someone tells me about how they built something and it was this roller coaster ride and it was worth $7 billion and then it collapsed, tell me more.
Yeah.
Wow, you did something. 100%. That person did something. And so to me, at 90, that's all we've got anyway. You can't take the money with you. You can't take any of it with you. So all you've got is that shit. They did something.
We've got the same passion. I mean, and if that person just owns like a pizza restaurant or is a cab driver but loves his cab driving
100%.
business. I just like Clemence was saying the other day, like every single cab driver I go in, I mean, when I go to a cab, I know his fucking life, like all the way through after 10, 15 minutes. And sometimes they're frustrated. Sometimes they have a dream. Sometimes they're sad in their business, right?
Well, humans, we're always going to find an issue. We love an issue. That's part of human skill. One of the human things that no other animal has is we can think into the future. We can predict or guess what might happen. So we love a good negative prediction because it helps us plan for the worst case scenario. So I mean, I have days where I'm miserable. I've got the most amazing team. I'm doing something I love so much. Every single day we help someone have a better life. It's just so rewarding. But there are some days where I'm like, I'm tired. And I'm pissed off because this didn't happen or one company didn't back us like they said they were going to. We always have days like that. We will always find... My son this morning was complaining that I wasn't playing the game he wanted to play the right way. I was like, this is the biggest problem he's got this morning. The game he wants to play with me, he was so upset. It was like we were doing a guessing game and I wasn't guessing it in the right order. He was so upset. I was telling him, in the big world of problems, he's crying because of this problem. And to him, it's very serious. But I'm like, in reality... We love to be miserable sometimes, humans. We love a good complaint. So every entrepreneur that ever complains to me about being an entrepreneur, I'm like, okay, I'll take all your equity off you. And they shut up straight away.
So we have also, the same passion. And we also offer to people, I wouldn't say I push, I don't know about you, but offer to people to become entrepreneurs and say, my say or my narrative is just to show it's possible. And those amazing guys you were talking about, I invite on my podcast. I just want to show that they're like you and I, right? They started, they have the same brain, they have the same hands. Some are smarter.
I would say a lot of your listeners are smarter than me. No, I think smart's got nothing to do with it. It's risk-taking.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
There is a kind of... But at the end of the day, I had some talks with some of them, and I feel responsible of, when it doesn't work. You have some people that have been... You've maybe told them, you should follow your dream. And then they follow their dreams and it doesn't work.
But you can go work for someone and it not work. There's loads of routes that don't end up working. That's why I ask someone else's dream and I don't judge it. I'm not giving them the dream. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just asking them what's in their heart. At the very least, what I give people is a lack of regret when they're older. If it doesn't work out, I'm not responsible for that. I try to help people in any way I can. But I know what you mean. But I think ultimately, I just want humans to have informed consent. I want humans to have choices. You can choose. I mean, for example, people will tell you marriage is a bad idea, get a prenup. I've got all these friends of mine that are very wealthy telling me this is the way that they get married. I'm like, okay, you can do it that way. I prefer to just kiss the person I love and go for it. And if we get a divorce, she can have half of it. I don't mind. But everyone will have a different way of living, right? I guess is what I'm saying. Personally, I think you should never live with regret. Regret is the worst thing. So if you have an idea, you should try it. And if it doesn't work, sure, okay, it's hard at the time. I've had many businesses fail. And I don't want to brush it off. I lost $1 million in one business, a comic book business called Devashard. I think I cried, and then I was angry. And I went through all the stages of grief. And now I'm at the stage of grief where I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that failed because I can talk about it as an experience that helped me succeed later, right? It's like, you need to go through it though. Failure is a cool experience. You find out who your real friends are as well. You can clear out a lot of shit in your life, failing. It's and then having nothing is also really freeing. Like this house you thought made you happy or this car that made you happy. Fuck it all. Don't need any of it. What you need is to enjoy your day to day.
100%. Did you find some route to success? Did you find some, you're like, I'm trying to be would you say a spark, right?
Right.
So the one helping people to just, the tipping point. And I believe we have on that particular point, the same mission, but it's hard to give people like the best chances? Because there is so many paths. Did you find some path?
Silver bullet answer to the entrepreneur journey.
Yeah.
I think it's nuanced. I would say having a purpose beyond yourself really helps. So this morning I was pretty tired. I could have cancelled this morning. I don't cancel because of two things. One, when I commit to doing something, I do it. So my reputation matters.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing beyond me is I know this podcast to help a few people today.
It will.
So my son's gone to the museum. I'd love to go to the museum with him. He's just gone. I'm not going to go because I'm committed to this idea of this podcast today will help people. So in my head, I think committing beyond yourself is so important. It's kind of a silver bullet because there'll be days you won't want to do it. And if you're just doing it for money or to fill a market gap, you might give up. And I think one of the key things to success is not giving up. And so if you love it, you enjoy it, you're using your skill set that gives you energy, not takes your energy. And then the mission of what you're working on is bigger than you. It gets you to the finish line. And staying alive is half of it.
The interesting thing also I've read is that you're, tell me if I'm wrong, but kind of anti-hustle. Like despite being like a serial entrepreneur, you push back hard on the grind culture.
I have a bit of a weird relationship with the hustle word. I think because I've been all over the world. In America, hustle, I think, is slightly negative. In England, I wish we had more of it. I think it's about not working hard, but working smart. So smart hustle is probably a better way to put it. Like, I definitely hustle, but hustle in England, if you say it the wrong way, like language, they're a hustler. It's a negative. Like they're a bit of a scammer. They don't really have substance to them. Where if you say that person really hustled to get where they are today, you can make it a positive word, all in the same sentence.
In the rap business, in the rap lyrics, it's more
I think
positive.
the same in
Every day
France,
I'm
right?
hustling, right?
You could say that person's a hustler, a bit of a. You could use a word that's a bit like a bit of a liar, a bit of a fake it till you make it, right? I think hustle is an American word, and ultimately it means duck and dive, right? And pushing through. I think hustle is very important. Actually, you have to fight to make something work. I prefer smart hustle. That's all. Because I think if you burn yourself out, that's very unhealthy. If you don't exercise, don't sleep, don't eat properly. If hustle means neglect yourself, I think it's a huge mistake. But if hustle means, like, my hobby is my job. I do this. I don't have a hobby. This is it. This is my hobby. And so you could argue that I'm hustling, and that's a negative, or you can argue that I enjoy what I do, that I just move up and down, in and out all day long,
Have you ever burned out?
I don't think so, but I do think it's an interesting one. I think I've had moments where I'm on autopilot, which isn't burnt out, but it's not joyful either. And so there's been certain moments. I had it when I sold my company. It was a year before I got paid. So I sold the company and did like a year handover. It was definitely very stressful because you're neither the boss anymore, but you're neither, but you don't work for someone. I found that period interesting. I also started an investment company during that time and started investing in startups. So I had the old company, I had this potential big payout, and I also had this investment business that I was learning. I think I went through a slight stage there where I went on autopilot, and so I wasn't enjoying it, but it was very exciting somehow. But there was lots going on, so I've had those sorts of emptiness. But I don't know if I call it burnout. I don't know what burnout is actually. I don't think I have a mental health disposition. I don't have mental health issues. Yeah. But I do have a focus requirement. So if I don't have a clear focus, I overthink, and then I don't sleep. And if I don't sleep, then I don't operate properly. And if I don't operate properly, then I go into like autopilot mode.
This is interesting. This is a good one, what you said. Like, so many people on that podcast or around me who sold their businesses went autopilot or burnout or depression. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very obvious why, though, isn't it? It's humans need something to do.
But it's hard to understand when you're out of this business. Like you make a shitload of money. You're like what you've dreamt of all of your life.
Yeah.
Like, and it comes and you get like 50 million, 100 million, even more. And then you're here and like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Very hard for your audience who haven't done it to relate to what you're talking about now. I hardly talk about this because I think a lot of people, if I say, oh, I made a load of money and I was depressed, people are like, what? Why? What's wrong with you? Not very relatable. Not many people have had that experience. What a great experience to have. And I think from a making loads of money point of view, it's very hard for people to comprehend. But it is so true. And it kind of reinforces this analogy that money won't make you happy unless you're already happy. It won't. So be very careful. If you're just chasing money and you're unhappy doing it, you'll be unhappy when you get it.
The other pattern I have on that podcast with a few of my guests is that they have like great companies, shitload of money. And you're right, they're not happy because they want more. And like, but there is no use. I mean, they have way too much money already, right? You've met people like that?
100%. A lot of people in my circle. When I sold my company, I was kind of put into this group of people. It's about 50 of us. They've all sold businesses and sit on money. And I watched a lot of them go and buy property and rent it out. And you've never heard such an unhappy group of people. All they complain about is their tenants and the laws changed against tenants and, this passive income life that they thought they were dreaming of. And all they're doing is moaning about having to give someone a washing machine or something for their house. The whole thing is just bizarre. I'm like, well, just sell all the houses and just live off the interest of the money.
Plus some are jealous of other one being richer than they are.
Well, that happens a lot too. And I even have it now of a few people where they're like, oh, you've got big on social media. Oh, how do I do it? I'm like, oh, I'll spend whatever doing it. I'm like, you cannot buy it like you think. You can buy followers, but it won't be real. You'll get one like on your video and people will know that your 1 million followers is a lie. So you can't buy it. It's a bit like a good body. You've got to go do the work. You've got to go to the gym. And so a lot of people, when they get a lot of money, they lose that ability to do the work.
It's interesting what you're saying right now. I never talked about it like this, but I've seen a lot of people like, they have, as we said, very rich people, and what they want is have 1 million followers. I mean, that's the thing they can't afford, and yeah.
You can't buy. You genuinely can't buy love from someone who really loves you. You genuinely can't buy things like we're talking about now. Your body, if you want to be in shape, you have to go to the gym, you have to work out, you have to be disciplined with food, right? And it's the same like with social media. You have to go. I went into the street asking people what their dream was. And then about 3 weeks later, I had this dinner, this private bank organized with all these other people that own their business. The whole room pretty much laughed at me about it.
Yeah, like, that's the other, yeah.
They're like, oh, if you're rich, you're going into the street. That's weird. Why would you do that? I'm like, I enjoy it. And I get to meet normal people that I can help. It's just so much fun. But they won't do the work.
Plus,
they made money. They did the work to make the money initially, but they think they don't want to do it again.
Plus, you have to go through a period, or the moment you're describing right now is like
cringe.
Cringe.
Yeah,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're rich as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be that dude like on Instagram or on TikTok, and moreover that 40 or 50 years old dude like trying his cringe stuff and being 100%. Ridiculous.
It's so embarrassing at the beginning of doing all the content. 100%. But I also knew, because I think you have, in the comments, you'd have people saying, oh, if he's rich, what's he doing in the street with a microphone? I'm like, well, actually, first of all, I need to be free during the day to do that, so you need money. And then I need to hire a cameraman, an editor, an audio person, and someone helping me manage it all. So I've got 5 people helping me do it. You have to be rich to do that. I'd have to prove it.
You always have 5 people to do it?
Not always, sometimes more.
Okay. Can you do it by yourself?
I did it myself at the beginning.
Yeah.
I had my phone and I would just do it with my phone. But as I got more serious about it, I needed infrastructure. The audio needed to be better. The editing needs to be better. The quality of the recording needs to be better. So to compete, you need to invest in infrastructure. But initially, I did just do it on my phone. Yeah, and it was I just walk up to people and ask them.
Is it still online? All of these content?
First videos are still. I haven't taken any videos down, except for what TikTok told me to take down or got banned because we said a swear word in it or something.
Okay.
But generally, every single video I've ever put up for the last 6 years is still up. You can go. The first ever TikTok I ever made. This is probably an interesting thing for your audience to pick up on. Is The first TikTok I ever made was of me and my son at London Zoo. And I haven't taken it down, it's still there. And the reason that's the first TikTok that's quite important is I was learning how the filters work. I was learning how the music worked, how the editing tool worked. So I didn't hire someone to do TikTok for me. I went and used the product myself. I did my own marketing MBA. I went and used it. And so the first videos were nothing to do with I'm going to teach people business. My first thing was, this is an interesting marketing tool. I don't think people are really realizing it. It's a marketing tool. They're seeing it as a dancing, lip sync music thing, but it's a marketing tool. So I learned how to use it. That was the first step before I even had an idea of how I would use it.
And that's a big part also of what you propose to people. I mean, most of the time I saw that video with that guy who wants to become a mechanic, and you tell them, well, I mean, just, as you were saying earlier on, just buy an engine or repair a car and film everything.
Exactly.
But I believe this is a hard one sometimes because some people are very bad at it, or sometimes it doesn't work. Your podcast didn't work. But then so what? You have to try again and try another social network and maybe be audio, be photo, be video again only, or?
I think you just have to do what you enjoy. And so I've learned to enjoy making content. I don't like doing editing.
Yeah.
I don't really like posting up the content. So I have someone that manages the social media pages and does the posting up. I have someone that does the editing to help me. So I think you can outsource the bits you don't like over time as it starts to work. But the first step is just playing around and enjoying the game.
You know what? We have a lot in common because I hate editing. So what I did on the podcast, and it stayed, I just don't fucking edit. And we put everything online and it works.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other way as well. I think sometimes people over-edit and overthink.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just put it up and see what happens.
But anyway, it depends on the social networks. Like we have Axel, you've met, our video genius. I mean, he's a genius editor. So he edits on CapCut, like things like in minutes that would take me probably 3 days. and that's also talent.
But I also think it's fun to go and try it.
Yeah.
It also gives you respect for the person that then does it for you. But there are people that get energy from editing. Like Joe, who runs my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He loves to edit. He loves to take all this kind of random stuff and build it into a story that people watch. Like that, for him, it gives him energy. If I said to him, go into the street and talk to people or sit on a podcast, and he'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. That's not what gives him energy. So we're all different. And that's why I say, like in school tells you to sit down and do an exam on your own. No one is self-made. No one. No, I'm not a self-made millionaire. No one is. We had help. And everyone has a role to play. The key is, people like Joe need equity in the business to justify it. Just because they're an editor doesn't mean they're any less valuable than me.
So how much equity do you give to your employees? I mean, is it what part of the company?
It depends. I think it depends on, I've got quite a few different businesses. And so each business, it depends on the involvement that person has in that business and the effect they have on that business.
Okay.
And most of the equity is done. So what I tend to do is if someone's with the company more than 2 years, then we have a path to equity for them. And then normally there's like a 2-year vested. So they'll get the equity over the next 2 years. Every month they get a little bit of equity. And it's linked to the performance of the business or the part of the business that they're working on.
Very inspiring.
But I think, again, like I would rather have 5% of Facebook than 100% of MySpace. So if I let 95% of my company go to my team, 1, less turnover, 2, talent stays with you. My team are targeted every week. I had it yesterday. Someone I know was told by a recruiter that they were trying to hire the Simon Squibb team because Simon Squibb's done so well, and of course it's his team, and they want to hire that team. And that the recruiter has said they have tried so many times to hire my team and they are locked down, was their words, right? They don't want to go. They like working with me.
Congrats.
So, but that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to create an environment where if you want to build a business that's exceptional, you've got to have exceptional people in it. And therefore you need to make sure those exceptional people are compensated correctly.
If we stay on content creation, do you have any advice to someone who, I mean, it's the same. We were talking earlier on about, I don't have a dream. And then people around me will go, I don't know how to create content. I don't know what to put on TikTok or on Instagram. I'm not, even I sometimes have a hard time just putting my face because I used to be audio only. I mean, how, what, why?
By the way, audio only works well for your face.
Yeah.
You should stick to audio. I think that's. And I'm joking. You're not even laughing.
I was processing. I was like,
for a second there.
Did I understand well?
No,
maybe my French was
But another way of putting it is, sometimes
I was about to insult you, but yeah.
He's very handsome, folks. But the what you have got to do, I think, with content, probably the biggest thing is play to your strengths. So just because being on camera is one way to do it, it's not the only way to do it. There are plenty of people. I was looking at a YouTube video the other day of someone unpacking video games with white gloves, right? They love video games and they've got the latest Nintendo game and they're opening it up and showing you the leaflet and laying it all out, and it's all done with white gloves. You don't know who they are, right? And so it doesn't have to be you on camera. I think you have to play to your strengths. You like video games, you're buying them anyway, put some white gloves on and do a YouTube video that can make you £50,000 this month. I think if you don't want to be on camera, become the best at making LinkedIn posts on Help Bank and LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be the same as everybody else, right? Even my content. I do have a YouTube channel. I do sit down and do this sort of interview. But my best thing, the thing I'm the best at, is street interviews. So I do that, right? Now, it's not that everyone therefore should be doing street interviews because that works for Simon. It works for my personality. Therefore, if my personality and your personality are the same, basically dig into what's good for you.
Which is hard. I mean, because we're doing this, we're shooting this content all across Europe. We've been in China, we've been in the US, and now we're doing this documentary about Europe. And yesterday, I was stopping people here, asking them if they were English, did they think about Brexit and so on, and just stopping people in the street. I mean, they're in their life. They are going home. They're thinking about something, and just telling, "Hey, can I interrupt you a second?" It's not. I mean, I feel uncomfortable about this at some point, and when it works well and you have a good connection, it's very interesting and it's very. It gives you a lot of rewards. But I think.
What was the takeaway about Brexit? Any feedback?
Well, I think we're in London, so. We could feel that most of educated people were against Brexit. We went to a place where people were, how do you call that, being distributed food in the street. So poor people. That guy, Paul, was really interesting. And he told us he voted for Brexit because of immigrants, because of there were too many strangers.
There's been a sleight of hand there.
And he says I mean, obviously it didn't work. And there is even more
evidence.
Migrants.
There's actual physical evidence.
Yeah, so, and I asked him, would you vote for Brexit again? He said, probably not. So it's interesting. And, the fun part actually about that is that, so we arrived for this interview with you, Simon, and also for this documentary. We'll go also in Kiev in Ukraine, to see a country where people want to get in Europe. And I wasn't expecting this thing on the newspaper I have somewhere here, like this minister last weekend. What's his name? Streeting.
Yes.
He said maybe we should rejoin the EU, and that was all of the press. And I was like, wow, that's the first time I see this. I see this narrative, this written like this. It was interesting. What's your take on this?
Well, I think Brexit is a joke. I think it's a lie. We were told a lie by people that just lie. So, and the data's now proven it, which is why it's even more frustrating that you have someone like Nigel Farage, who's doing quite well in the election polls. He lied to us. It's proven that he's lied to us. He only had one policy idea and it's been a complete failure. Why the hell are we even considering him to be our prime minister? So I think it's sad. I think it's wrong. And, it's pretty obvious, that people like Nigel Farage will lie to get power. Like I said earlier, the reason I didn't get involved in politics is because of the narrative I know to be true from a consultant I hired that helps these people. You have to lie to get elected. You have to say what you don't believe to get the power. And that's, to me, wrong. And I think, I feel a lot of people in Britain are frustrated generally. And when you say immigrants, they're confused. They don't, a lot of the time that's not defined as a particular person from a particular country for a particular reason. It's a very general thing. So when you say EU, most people don't understand even what countries are in EU. So when they say immigrant, who is causing you to not get the job that you were meant to have? Is it someone in EU? Is that really what you're talking about? And if you start looking at the data again, you'll realize that a lot of the jobs that these people say they wanted, they don't want anyway.
Yeah, it's like the Polish plumber or stuff like this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and anyway, I think AI is changing the game again. So we need to have our trading partners hand in hand, lockstep. We need to be working with people, not dividing up the country. I actually think the whole world should be one thing. I think we should all be one world. If aliens were coming to this world now to destroy us, humans would realize we're all humans. We'd have one central space agency, one central AI agency, because aliens are coming to destroy us all. But right now, because we don't have aliens, apparently, they might be coming to destroy us all, we seem to think it's about how to, attack each other's country, which is absolutely stupid.
Well, I don't know if someone's still listening to us, some English people or Brits, but I would say, because I heard the other day, a lot of people told me, this journalist from the Times, and they say, I don't think Europe would accept us. And I'm just saying, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, but I would definitely accept and be more than fucking welcome. Come back, rejoin.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the European Union model has problems. And I think it's always healthy to have a strong piece of leverage to make changes, right? I just think the British leverage was wasted. Instead of fixing the problems, we felt leaving it would give us a better position. I think it's going back in time.
You know, well, actually, this documentary is all about fixing problems because, let's face it. I mean, the way it's working now is not working, but we have to do better. Great. What about the book? When did you
is everyone still here? If you're still here, folks, I have a book. Yeah, thanks for highlighting it.
They're still here.
I have another book coming out this week. But this is What's Your Dream? And so if you don't know your dream, it will help you find it. And if you do know your dream, it will help you do it. And I put in there a lot of self-sabotage that people don't realize they're doing to themselves, try and help people break down their self-sabotage and stop it from happening so that they don't stop themselves following their dream. And I'm really proud of this book. It will help a lot of people. And I use the profit from the book to help people. So,
but that's one question I had for you. I mean, because you give away a lot of money, the profit of the books are going to help people. I mean, do you make money somewhere?
Yeah. We're a for-profit, for-good business. So, and the reason I don't want to be a charity is because I want to pay people really well. So I've got the best talent in the world helping people.
And you have to give them shares.
Exactly. So. And I put investment into the infrastructure, and I don't want to not do that. And I want to be able to give the money away in a very simple way. Charity models make you define who you're going to give the money to. And so I don't want to have to restrict helping anybody just because they're from a good postcode or a good neighborhood. I still will give them money and help them. So I never wanted to be a charity because I think it's not scalable. I wanted to be a business that makes money, not asks people for money. We make money from the book. We make money from our videos. We make money from sponsors. And we just take all that profit that we make and we do good with it. And that means paying the team well so they can help people. And that means building infrastructure like helpbank.com. We pay for it so people can use it for free. And then we, of course, give money away. But I always wanted to stay on the side of I don't want to be a charity. I'm not asking people to give me money. I'm able to make money from the business that then funds all the free stuff to help people.
Would you give me some numbers about your business?
I don't have them on me. I don't have the details to give you. If I'm going to give out that, I want to be exact.
Okay.
But we've given £426,000 away so far. So, and that's all listed on my app, What's Your Dream? You can go on my app. You can see who we've given £426,000. Yeah. So if you go look, you can see all the money, who we've given the money to, how much. You can click through to their business, have a look at them and what they're doing. So yeah, but I think money is one thing. The thing I think we've given most of those businesses is also exposure. So we've got them following on social media, help them monetize their business because most people need a customer, not money. Most people just need a paying customer to help fund their business, not money. They need a client, a reoccurring client. So we try through social media to use social media for social good. So I think the biggest value that we often bring people is free knowledge and exposure to help them get a customer. Money that we give to people is just a value add bonus. And, in this day and age, bit of money never hurts, right? So, but that's not, I don't think, the biggest value of what we do.
So you keep track on the businesses you've helped. Yep. Which one is the most successful money-wise?
It's interesting. Success money-wise.
Yeah.
You added that at the end there. Okay. I was ready to answer the question about the money.
Yeah.
I don't know everybody's financial situation in each of the businesses. It's not my business. But I do know some great stories. So there's kids called the Macca twins. They're identical twins.
Okay.
And about 3 years ago, they came to us and said their dream was to start a cleaning business, but make cleaning fun. And so at the time, it was them, and they were living in a one-room, 5 family members. And they were about to be evicted. So they were about to be kicked out of their home, and they started on their journey of making content around cleaning places. They've actually got a really clever catchphrase called, I'm John and I'm James, and we clean places no one else asked us to clean.
So it's Macca,
Macca, M-A-K-A.
Okay.
And so but they have now built a really successful cleaning business 3 years later. They now have a 5-bedroom house that their family is in, as opposed to like one room with 5 of them in it. And they're making £10,000-15,000 a month from their business, from their cleaning business. So there's loads of stories like that. And
Macca Group.
Yeah.
The Macca twins. Interesting.
I mean, if you go through the list of people on the Watch Your Dream app, you'll see it. But, Caitlin, she started Rock's Queen. She was working for someone else, a bit scared to take the leap. She's now making, huge money each month. Well, she's making enough money to enjoy it. She's got a good runway. She's not losing money. She's paying her bills and she's enjoying it. I think success sometimes is zero in business. If you can get to a point where you're paying all your bills, including yourself, you're paying yourself, and you enjoy it, to me, that is success. We've got, I would say, hundreds of people in that position now. Last month and out, we did an accelerator program. We helped 5,000 people start a business. And so not all of them are going to make millions. Some of them will just make more than their salary, but they're doing it for themselves. So to me, that's success. I think too often we do focus on huge revenue. I think success is enjoying what you do, making a difference in the world. Yes.
Look at the Macca twins on Instagram. It's hilarious. It's amazing. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, we met the Prime Minister, 126K followers.
Yeah.
And they
cleaned the British Airways plane.
Yeah.
They've gone all the way.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, I don't like to actually, the people that we help, I don't want them to be held up as proof for what we do, because that's too much pressure on them. The way I look at it is like, are we having a positive impact on the world? And if I look at my DMs of the amount of people that watched the video of the Macca twins and went off and did their dream, so it's not even they're successful. Yes, I can hold them up and say, but I don't want them to be under pressure to prove that my model works by me. But it's the people that watch them that are inspired to go and follow their dream. There's hundreds of thousands of people every month that I have never met that are doing their thing because they watched one of our videos.
Yeah.
And so to me, like, I'll never track those because I haven't given them money and they're not featured in one of my videos. But I see it in the DMs, I see it in posts where people are realizing for the first time what their dream is. I had yesterday a load of kids come up to me, 13, 14, 15 years old, all telling me because they watched my content, they're asking themselves what their dream is, and no one had ever asked them. Their teachers don't ask them, their parents don't ask them. I mean, yesterday, this one kid, because anyone under 15, I have to get permission from the parents to be on camera. So I rang the mum of this kid and I said, is it okay if I record your son? And then I asked her what her son's dream is, and she doesn't know.
Do you know your kid's dreams?
I ask him every week. And he always, until recently, he says the same. So I don't know yet, Daddy. But he recently said he watched David Attenborough talk about the 6th extinction.
Do you know your dream, Clemens? Do you know your dream? Yeah.
So you don't know her dream? How long have you been working together?
3 years.
3 years.
I know her dreams. One of her dreams. Huh?
Oh, pressure.
I don't know, but I'm saying that.
This is awkward now.
No.
By the way, I know people have been together 20 years.
What I'm thinking is that Clemence is becoming my partner, so she's taking 20% equity in the business.
Right.
And I think, at least professionally wise, that's really what you wanted to do. I mean, and in terms of business, well, yeah. Yeah, in terms of business infrastructure, and creating content and being her own boss, because she cannot have a boss. I know that because I was her boss, and it was complicated. It's better now that I'm the partner.
But by the way, this is a really interesting conversation, and your audience, like, you work with someone for years. I think she's got something to say. Go on, say, what is the actual dream?
What is your dream then? telling stories, writing stories. She does it very well.
Well, why does that matter to you?
I don't know. It's something that I've always wanted to do.
Something that she always wanted to do.
So what she's doing with you is facilitating that dream.
Yep.
That's quite important for you to know that. Any employer listening, you want to understand your colleagues' dreams, because I now know that 20% is in safe hands, because she's facilitating this to drive what's actually her passion, right? That's why it's going to work. Most people don't know someone's dream. They think 20% of the company is their dream. No. The vehicle has to facilitate the dream. Otherwise, the 20% is a waste of time. That's why I say everyone here is on the path to equity once they're in the right role and once they're doing where they really truly believe in the mission. Otherwise, the equity could be like a waste of time. The equity itself doesn't drive loyalty. The equity itself doesn't drive passion, right? The dream drives all those things.
But I love this too. It's a great take. Thanks, Simon. Because what I tell also a lot of people on my podcast is just don't forget to say I love you to the people around you, the people you love. Because, it took me a long time before I said it to my parents or like this, or even before they said it to me. And now I think, I don't know if I made this easier, but I think I was really part of it. And, you've lost your parents or your father early, and I think I have that chance to be loved, truly. And I think this is such a gift, right? And I think so many people don't say it. And the cost is zero, right? And the reward is just amazing. And actually, I had this talk with an entrepreneur called Celine Chong, and she's from China. And they're very discreet. And they never said it before. I told her on the podcast, did you never say, I love you to your mother? And she said, no. And then she sent me so many messages since then, because it's changing.
I think I say I love you to my son like every 5 minutes. I don't know how anyone could not say it. I say it all the time. But I think history, life, we have unconditional love for our children. This is something I learned having a kid. You have unconditional love for your children, but they do not have unconditional love for you. There are conditions. There are.
Wow.
And so it's different. It's a different type of love. Until you have kids, you don't know. So I tell my son I love him all the time, but I can also tell sometimes that he needs space or he doesn't. If I say it too often, I've got a feeling that eventually he won't say it to me because I'm saying it all the time.
Yeah,
You've got to shut up and let him say it to you. But
I
agree with you. Everyone listening should. I agree. I think that I love you bit is so powerful, and you got to say it and you got to mean it.
But knowing the dream is very powerful. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I think knowing the dream allows people to understand who you are and allows people to forgive you if you're, work obsessed, for example. Like my wife's very forgiving. I work all the time, but she knows what I'm doing is important to me, and it makes me happy to fix the problem I'm fixing. And so, yeah. Anyway, I love you. Everybody listening, I don't know you, but I feel love.
Yeah, it's important. Great. I'm just thinking about my dreams, but did I get that question? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
What's your dream? Yeah.
You know what I like is I'm living my dream. I mean, what I like is meeting people, and I'm really I don't know how to pronounce that word. Genuine? How do you say that? Genuine. Thank you.
You can't pronounce the word genuine.
Genuine. I don't know why. It's just I never can pronounce that word.
Yeah,
genuine.
okay.
I'm very genuine on this.
You can say it in French. What is it in French? What is genuine?
Authentique or
authentic?
Honnête. Yeah, authentic.
Oh, see, French is so close to English. Isn't it? Authentic.
And so I like to meet people. I like to meet people, and I like to meet people with brilliant minds, creative, even some that everybody hates. I don't care. I just want people that are doing, great things. So my dream would be to meet more. And I would say, if I had to give names, I would say, you've met Mr. Beast would be one of them. But Barack Obama probably also. Or Elon Musk. Elon Musk, my God, this guy. I mean, you can hate that guy. I know that many people hate him for many reasons. I can understand them. But who can run like SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. What's the other one with the Starlink? Like there is so many businesses. One of them is already just such a revolution. I think that would be something I would be chasing.
Yeah, good list.
Yeah.
I've met Mr. Beast. I'd love to meet Barack Obama. Elon Musk is mental. Yeah, it's and people are interesting. I think I want to meet these people now so they can help the people I'm helping. So I met Will Smith, the actor.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I asked him to put one of our dreamers in his next big movie, and he said yes. I like meeting these people so that they can help normal people. There's something really amazing about someone that's just starting their career who's struggling, putting them with the person that's at the top of the game and connecting the dots.
Did you fulfill all of your dreams?
Did I follow all of my dreams? I never really asked myself what my dream was until I was about 40. So I'm only recently thinking that way. I think initially I was just in survival mode and make money mode and build a business mode. Throughout my business career, I've always been on the side of humans, trying to help people follow their dreams, but I didn't know it. You know, looking back, it's very easy. My agency business was all about helping people get their marketing right, get their communication right, so their business was successful. So I've always been there helping people with their businesses. I think now I'm just a bit more philanthropic about it, right? So I can help the demographic that no one else wants to help because I'm not chasing the money per se. So I can spend 6 years without making any money to help those people. Now we're making money. We're making a lot of money. But we're not, for the longest time, we didn't make any money because the whole mandate was give people the knowledge for free, help people for free. And that's very hard to build up anything that then can be monetized because we had no audience at the beginning, right? We had no views at the beginning. There's no way to make money at the beginning. You just have to help that audience for nothing.
That is very ambitious. When you do things for free, then before you make the first euro.
Especially if you put value in free, like I said earlier. If you really want to bring value, it costs money to do that. And then there's no money from that demographic. It's tough.
And just, I'll leave you back to your family soon, but just to dig a little bit into how did you go from this 16 years old guy we've left earlier on to Hong Kong? I mean, what happened?
So in a nutshell, I had this, business entrepreneur muscle wake up in my brain. So the first business failed, gardening company, and then I got a job, and for about almost a year, maybe a little bit longer, I just did the job. I was like, wow, this is great. You get paid, you don't have to worry about cash flow. But I told you, my brain had already woken up. So then in the hotel, they had so I'm starting to sound old now, but people used to ring up to make a booking. So they ring the hotel up to make a booking. And then if the hotel was full, the receptionist would put the phone down. I remember watching this once. The receptionist is like, sorry, we're full, put the phone down. Like, we spent so much money getting that phone call, and we got no room. How annoying. It's like a waste of an inquiry, right? So my entrepreneur muscle kind of wiggled a bit and it said, well, why don't we offer that person another hotel nearby? And then if you do place the hotel booking nearby, because they're not as good at marketing as us, they've got empty rooms, we make 15% commission. And the hotel at the time said, oh, we don't want to be dealing with that because, that's we can't recommend other hotels,
Which 15% commission is probably the margin you make on the hotel room somehow.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, so I'm like, why would we restrict ourselves to only making money in our own hotel? But to the hotel, they don't want to promote another brand. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to set up something called Accommodation Express. When those phone calls come in, you'll give them my number. And then I'm going to pick up that phone and I'm going to find them another hotel equivalent nearby. This is pre-internet. So this is I had hotels.com basically before the internet. And so it was called Accommodation Express, and I started that business, and it made money, and it did really well. And then basically, long story short, I sold it for a little bit of money, and my tax advice was go traveling for a while. And if you're out of the UK for more than 90 days, you don't have to pay tax on it. So I went traveling, and the first place I went to was Hong Kong. And when I got there, I was offered a job there again. And I turned that job into a consultancy, not a job. So I gave some advice and got paid. And then slowly but surely, I fell in love with Hong Kong. And I was like, wow, this city's incredible. And that's it. I had a little bit of a brief time in Thailand, and then I came back to Hong Kong, and I ended up 20 years in Hong Kong.
Actually, I have to say, I went for the first time in Hong Kong last November. I wasn't expecting this.
It's an incredible city. Yeah.
And
Media completely gets it wrong.
Plus how do you call the new territories around?
Unbelievable.
My God, it's amazing.
Yep. I find it very hard to live anywhere else now since having that experience. You have the mountains, you can go hiking, and then you have the beaches. You can go to the beach, or you can in the city. It's all within like 20 minutes of each other. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible city. And it's had a hard time the last 10 years, but it is geographically absolutely stunning. And I think a work ethic like no other. Like I worked there. I mean, I would work on a Sunday. Nobody, everyone's working on Sunday. But it's not work like you think. Like I was invited to, I was there about 2 weeks, I was invited on a billionaire's boat on a Sunday. And I remember thinking, I've just been here 2 weeks. They don't know who I am. And they've invited me on their boat on a Sunday. I'm like, don't they want to spend that time with their family? But that's how people work there. You come on a boat trip with them and they get to know you during the day. And then they do a business deal with you at the end of the day. It's not like in England where you meet in the office on Tuesday at 1:00, and that's it. You have a meeting. They're like, come on our boat on Sunday and we'll get to know each other. Oh, all right then. Okay. And that there's no work-life balance. There's just life.
You convinced me. I'm going to work in Hong Kong now on my billionaire's boat.
I would go back if I could. My son loves it here, so I'm here right now.
Well, we've been to this place. I have to say, probably the best hotel I've been ever. Have you ever been to this? What's it called? Upper House?
Upper House, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh yeah,
my
beautiful.
God.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, that's what I mean. 5-star in Asia is 7-star in England.
Yeah.
So they don't know what 5-star is. Same when I go to Europe. It's like, oh, welcome to a 5-star. I'm like, this is not 5-star. But I don't know how to tell you that.
Yeah, plus the new territories, as you said. Well, listen, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I think we had a great moment with you. Clemens just told me we had this noise. We're live on your TikTok. We had this noise. What was it?
Oh, yeah. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but on TikTok, people don't realize you can make money so many different ways. But one of the ways you accidentally make money is if people like what you're saying, they can drop gifts.
No way.
So gifts is money. Yeah. So on this live, I was given some money, which I will give away to fund maybe one of your listeners' dreams. If one of your listeners has a dream, why don't they put it down in the comments, and then I'll use the money from this TikTok live to fund it.
All right. So listen to this, folks. That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know what? And I'll double it. I don't know how much, or hopefully there's not too much money.
It'll be about $50,000 on there. So that's very generous of you. No, we don't know. I don't know till I close it. It could be a lot. Could be a little. Let's see.
Don't send any more money, guys, on TikTok.
They're going to do like TikTok universes, and you're going to be in serious trouble.
Yeah, I loved it. Thank you, Simon. And to every one of you guys, please follow Simon Squibb on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. You're going to love it. And just, and us, obviously.
Yeah,
Génération Do It Yourself, myself, Clémence also, so she can tell stories. We'll put all of the episodes, the links on the episodes. And yeah, it was great. And just, I want to know, what is your dream? Everyone.
Yeah, in the comments, tell us. I'll read all the comments.
Do people do that? Do they do it when we ask?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone, we want to know, what is your dream? That's really cool. I have 2 questions before I leave you. One is, if you had a book you could give away to everyone, which one would it be?
There's a book by Simon Squibb called What's Your Dream?
Another one?
Genuinely brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't read.
You don't read?
No, I'm dyslexic.
All right.
So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing not to read, but I've just completely created my own framework because I don't have anybody else's framework. So I wish I had. I wish I'd had my book when I was 18, but I actually think like I don't read much. I've read one book that I liked, a very unpopular brand in Paris, I think, Starbucks. Yeah. I've read the book of Howard Schwartz. Not popular.
No, it's growing big in France. I think it's even bigger than in London. We don't see many Starbucks.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, my point is Howard Schwartz, who created Starbucks, he wrote a book called Pour Your Heart Into It, and it's a good book. And he talks about like doing the right thing in business, all the things you wouldn't actually link with Starbucks per se. But like they, for example, created the healthcare program for part-time workers that they didn't have to do. It wasn't the law in America to do it. But they created it. It cost them £60 million or dollars. And then all the other companies had to copy. So it's not governments that make change. It's business that makes change.
You know what? Actually, I can also recommend a book for you because it blew my mind when you said it. From another dyslexic English person. Have you ever read Losing My Virginity from Sir Richard Branson?
No, I haven't read it, but I have
It's-
partnered with Richard Branson. So, yeah.
You know him?
Of course. He's a big supporter of what we're doing.
Well, he's one of my dreams, actually.
Okay.
Well, you help me, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think we have to go on his island to meet him.
Yeah, that's one way to go. I didn't go there. But he's one of my inspirations in the business. In England, he's one of the icons. So,
Iconic.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, his book is good. I know that I haven't read it, and I told him I haven't read it, but I know it. I know the stories from it because it's legendary in The Entrepreneur.
It's the first business book I've read, and it was in English, and it was amazing. And thank you, Sir Richard Branson, for that. The last question is, what do you tell the young Simon Squibb when you meet him when he's 15 years old, he's in the street? What if you get the chance to talk to him?
It's all going to be all right, mate.
Yeah, it went all right, Simon. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your honesty. It was great.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.